Disturbed singer David Draiman's emotional speech at one of the band's recent concerts has gone viral and has attracted both praise for tackling the issue of mental health as well as concern for the singer's own well-being. It was a moment that caught the live audience off guard as the 50-year-old singer discarded the aggressive persona that defined his band's music and laid himself emotionally bare. The moment was equally sad and profound as Draiman mentioned the names that the rock world has lost after failing to conquer their own demons. But perhaps the most concerning part is when Draiman talked about his own struggles and how things could have turned out worse for him. What exactly did David Draiman say during his emotional speech? Stay tuned as we take a look at this once-in-a-blue-moon moment for the Disturbed frontman and what it could mean for both fans and musicians. David Draiman and Disturbed. Perhaps one of the more underrated singers in rock today, David Draiman is widely known for his imposing presence. One can't mention the singer without visualizing his signature twin dangling piercings on his chin, which was one of his own defining features for the most part of his career. But behind this image is a man who's gone through his own share of emotional struggles and battles, many of which are mirrored in the songs he sings. David Draiman was born in Brooklyn, New York, and is of Jewish descent. In his youth, he was sent to several Orthodox schools to absorb the Jewish faith and practice much more. However, he found himself turned off by the overtly rigorous practices in the schools. Despite this, Draiman continues to uphold and practice the faith in a modest capacity and observe Shabbat with his family. After graduating high school from Ida Crown Jewish Academy in Chicago, Draiman went to Jerusalem and spent a year at the yeshivas in Neve Zion. Upon returning to the United States, Draiman entered Loyola University of Chicago, graduating with a degree in political science and government, philosophy, and business administration. However, Draiman became an administrative assistant at a healthcare facility instead of pursuing law full-time. He eventually ran his own facility before starting a music career. In 1996, Draiman auditioned as a vocalist for a Chicago-based band called Brawl, who was looking for a replacement for their former singer. Draiman, who had reportedly attended around 20 other auditions that month, won the position. The band later changed their name to Disturbed under Draiman's suggestion. By 1999, Disturbed had signed with Giant Records and quickly started recording their debut album titled The Sickness. The album was released in March of 2000 and quickly catapulted the band into stardom. Draiman had contributed some of the album's most known songs, including Stupify and arguably the band's most famous song, Down with the Sickness. 2 years later, Disturbed resurfaced with their sophomore effort, Believe. In contrast to its predecessor, whose sound was heavily patterned after nu metal, which was big at the time, Believe saw the band incorporating more melody into their music, resulting in a more traditional heavy metal sound. The sound also allowed Draiman to showcase his vocal range much more. The album was a success and became Disturbed's first to debut at #1 on the Billboard 200. This trend of debuting at #1 on the US charts would continue for the band's next few albums, namely 2005's 10,000 Fists, 2008's Indestructible, 2011's Asylum, and 2015's Immortalized. With these accomplishments, Disturbed is one of only 3 artists to have 5 consecutive albums debut at #1 on the Billboard 200, the others being Metallica and the Dave Matthews Band. Draiman behind the scenes. As the band's career progressed, so did their sound, and Draiman contributed many songs by drawing from his personal life experiences. The singer has not kept it secret that he's had many personal battles throughout his life, many of which might have kept another person down. Many of these experiences are reflected in his lyrics. The song Stupify from Disturbed's debut album is about Draiman's experiences with racism and discrimination. Prayer, the opening track of Believe, was inspired by the death of Draiman's grandfather, with whom he had a strained relationship until shortly before his death. As his career continued, Draiman started taking inspiration from the darker aspects of his life for his lyrics. For example, Inside the Fire, the lead single from their 2008 album Indestructible, was inspired by a former girlfriend of Draiman's who took her own life years ago. The lyrics are sung from the devil's perspective, who tempts Draiman to do the same to join her. Years before, at the age of 18, when Draiman was still using heroin, he indeed attempted to take his own life life but failed. After surviving the attempt, he swore never to use the drug again. Meanwhile, the song My Child from the 2011 album Asylum is about a former girlfriend who miscarried their child. In 2018, Disturbed released their 7th album, Evolution. One of its singles was the acoustic ballad A Reason to Fight, a song that tackles addiction and depression. Draiman had said that he felt a close connection to the song's message since he's had people close to him who struggled with these issues. It recently snatched the spotlight thanks to an emotional speech by Draiman during a live performance introducing the song. The Speech. During a recent show in Milwaukee, Draiman introduced the song with an emotional speech that openly discussed the consequences of depression and addiction, while also low-key slamming the stigma surrounding it. He started his speech by saying that each one of us has a reason to fight, referencing the song's title. He then went on to talk about the struggles of fighting these mental illnesses. The demons that are known as addictions and depressions are very, very real, he says. They are diseases no different than cancer. You can't see depression. You can't see addiction. It festers inside. It metastasizes, takes over your body and your mind, your soul. With these words, Draiman countered the stigmas that are still associated with depression and addiction. Today, a few still deem these illnesses as false diseases that can be overcome with enough willpower, dedication, and discipline. However, in recent years, more medical research has been published supporting the notion that depression and addiction are real diseases with physiological symptoms no different than other physical diseases. And just as one can't treat a cough by getting over it, one can't cure depression or addiction in the same manner. Draiman continues his speech by referencing his colleagues who have fallen to these diseases, saying, "I'm tired of losing everybody I love to depression and addiction. Every single band member on this stage has dealt with those feelings, with those demons, and I miss the friends that we've lost. I miss Chester, I miss Scott, I miss Chris," referencing Linkin Park's Chester Bennington and Soundgarden's Chris Cornell, who took their own lives, as well as Stone Temple Pilots singer Scott Weiland, who died from a drug overdose. At this point, Draiman was already tearing up, but perhaps the most heartbreaking and shocking part of his speech was what followed. As the singer continued, he mentioned that he was very close to getting to the same breaking point that took his friends' lives. He said, "And if I can be completely honest with you, a couple months ago, I almost joined them. Addiction and depression can happen to anyone, ladies and gentlemen, no matter how beautiful their life might look from the outside, no matter how blessed they may seem. It's out of our control." It should be noted that last April, Draiman announced that he and his wife of 11 years, Lana Yada, had divorced. The singer had also mentioned that he had just lost his dog of 14 years. These recent issues are likely what's been causing him distress, but until his revelation during his speech in Milwaukee, nobody thought that things were that severe, especially for someone who's pretty experienced with tackling the most challenging parts of life. Draiman concluded his speech with a call for solidarity. "Now, by a show of hands, how many of you have dealt with the demons of addiction and depression yourself, or know someone that has?" the frontman asked. "Keep them up. Now, take a look around this arena. As you can see, my friends, you are not alone." Because of the nature of his lyrics, one can assume that Draiman is used to dealing with hard times. However, sometimes it can be too much, and even someone as tough as Draiman can be pushed near the edge. This is where the music becomes a form of therapy for the singer. Speaking about the future, Draiman said in a recent interview, "There's going to be plenty of inspiration for the next body of work, battling depression, battling all the demons that normally come along with it. And I know that music, our music, other music like it, and different types of music in general is just the perfect means of therapy for so many people. And it really is my saving grace. I don't know what I'd do without it."